Yeah, ha, there I am. All right, rock and roll. Rock and roll. We're just about going live here, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome. Ba-da-ba. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. I am your host, as always, Ralph Peterson, and we have put together a great show for you today. The next 60 minutes is going to fly by quickly, and well, full disclosure, I'm not sure if I'm talking to you or if I'm just reminding myself of how fast the next 60 minutes goes. I mean, it just flies by to me. So in either case, whether I'm telling you or I'm giving myself a warning, I know that I am going to have to talk super fast in order to get everything in that I have today. And that means you are going to have to listen fast. So I'm going to talk fast. You're going to listen fast. And in the words of the great philosopher, simply known as Kramer, I say, giddy up. All right, here we go. You know what? I think it's like a Christmas tree. It's a couple of days before Thanksgiving. It's almost Festivus. You can bring out Kramer. You can bring out Christmas trees. You can start singing Christmas carols. I say now is the time of the year. So let's look. If you're watching me live on Facebook or on social media at all, I even have candy canes. That's right. That's how much I'm rolling Christmas this soon. I'm way early. On today's show, we are going to be talking about our favorite subject, our workforce. And of course, I am being completely facetious when I say my favorite subject. And here, hot off the presses, listen to this. Before we even get too far into much, I just found this, and I got to tell you, I'm always doing research. I'm always just trying to find quirky little fun stories, trying to figure out what's going to make, what would you want to be interested in? What would I want to be interested in if I were listening to this radio show about operational management? What would be interesting to me? And so I'm doing the research, and thank God leave the research to me, because there's some garbage out there that you do not want to be running into. Here it is. This is somebody wrote into an HR professional. I paused my career because of bad managers. How can I restart it now? If you go further in, it says, I have just had terrible manager after terrible manager after terrible manager until finally I said, you know what? This working thing is not going to work for me, because, there's just everywhere I look is terrible managers, bad management here, there, everywhere. And so I just left the job. So I'm no longer working for a long time. And well, now I need what they call money. I do have to get back into workforce, because what I thought I was going to get money for not working is no longer working out. And so now I have to go back into the workforce. And so please, HR director, tell me, how do I explain to my potential boss that the reason I haven't been working for a couple of years is because I've never had a good boss, because all managers are terrible. Listen, but we don't even need that garbage. What a crock. Come on. At some point, friends, just let me be straight up and honest with you. This is coming from somebody who works in operational management every single day. At some point, you've got to take a little ownership. If the job is if you can't find a good place to work, if you can't find a good spouse or a good mate to be with, if you can't find a friend who wants to see and hang out with you on a regular, maybe you buy yourself one of those reflective things called a mirror and start having a conversation with the person who really matters, and that's you. Start figuring out how you can be a little better of an employee. Oh my God, what a terrible way to start the show. It just rubs me the wrong way every time I hear an employee blame the man. It's so easy. It's like a teenager blaming their parents. It's so easy. It's so overdone. It's so predictable. It's so stupid. Oh, all right. Welcome to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show, where I'm going to go ahead and calm myself down a little bit, just a little goose fraba. On today's show, we are again talking about workforce. We're going to be trying to figure out our best ways to create an effective and engaged workforce that's very challenging as I just highlighted from the last article I threw across the room, there are some employees out there that no matter what you do, you will never be good enough for them. And so trying to figure out how to create effective and engaged workforce and work team members is very, very challenging. And it's something all of us in business need. We are nowhere without our employees. And so I know it. We all know it. So we're just going to try to figure out how to be and get better. But first, we should probably give salute to the company that pays our bills. So first and foremost, this show is brought to you by IBGR Radio, the International Business Growth Radio. So we should start there. If you would like to be part of the show, if you would like to ask me questions, if you would like to engage me, please don't be an employee who wants to scream about how terrible their manager is. I'm not the person you want to talk to about that because I cry foul. That's another show. That's not this show. If you are a manager and you want to complain about employees, you might be in the right place. Anyway, if you want to be part of the show, you can go to ibgr.network. And you can see there's a flashing yellow question mark in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. If you click on that icon, I will see that you have clicked on it and that you're wanting to interact with me, and you can do so. You can ask questions. You can make comments. You can just throw some emojis up there. Maybe it won't get my attention, but you can do it. Also, we are live right now on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter. We're live on a lot of different social media platforms. Go to ralphpeterson.com. That's probably the easiest way to find me. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the screen at ralphpeterson.com, you can see my social media buttons. Let me just a quick programming note to my assistant, India. Did we put those up on the top of the screen? I think we should, instead of saying go to ralphpeterson.com and then go all the way to the bottom of the website, we should maybe just have them at the top. Programming note there. Also, we are on all of IBGR. IBGR is huge. They're massive. They're in like 160 countries at this point, and we're just one small part of a very, very big network over here at IBGR. And so they have a lot of social medias, and we are live on I think most of their social medias as well. So if you're on any social media platform right this second and you want to see what I look like, please go to ibgr.network. Or you can go to ralphpeterson.com and you can find out where you can actually see me in my pretty pink shirt today. Also, I should add that IBGR is the place. If you go to ibgr.network, that is the place where you can stream all of the shows from IBGR. And IBGR, this is a business radio program for business, for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs. So everything that we talk about in this show is something that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis in my own business. And so I'm sure it's helpful for you in your business as well. You can listen to all the past shows of this show. You can listen to all the past shows of all the other shows on IBGR. All you have to do is go to ibgr.network. There is in the middle of the site, there's a little drop-down box called Community, and in there you can join the community of commerce. And once you join, become part of the community of IBGR, you can listen to past shows, download shows. You'll be able to see everybody, listen all over the world. We have such great programming all over the world. So that is how you watch me if you'd like to, listen to me if you want to. If you missed any past show, you can go to IBGR.network and get them. Also, Ralph Peterson podcast is also available. So I do a lot of interviews. I interview some people, not a lot. I'm not a biggest fan. You know why I'm not a big fan of interviewing people? Because I'm not very good at it. I'm very good at talking, but I'm not very good at shutting up. So interviewing people is not really my forte, but I do have a podcast where we put up all the past shows of this show, as well as all the past interviews and podcasts that I'm on. We always put them on the Ralph Peterson podcast. So go to ralphpetersonpodcast.com, or you can find it on any of your podcast player apps. I think we're on all of them. Indy has given me the thumbs up. Yes, we're on all of them. Good. So we're on all of the apps as well. Okay, so let's get into it. It is November 24th, 2020, and it's important to timestamp today's date only because we are just 2 days away from the official start of the holiday season. Thanksgiving is Thursday, and to be honest, I was going to bring up Thanksgiving at the last segment of the show, because it's such an important holiday and it's super important to be thankful and to talk about what we're thankful for and everything. But honestly, Thanksgiving is also the start of the holiday shopping season, and it is the launching pad for many employers. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses out there that are right now trying to hire as many people as possible, or they're trying to keep and maintain their current workforce. And it is challenging, especially when we're talking about today's show is all about creating a sustainable, a good quality workforce, an engaged, a supportive workforce. It is a challenge to bring on new employees just for the season, just for the holiday season, the big rush. How do you get them up and trained quickly? How do you get them engaged quickly? How do you let them all know what the rules and regulations are? I mean, it can be quite a challenge. And a real quick story before we go to our first break. I worked at a nursing home on Cape Cod years and years and years ago. And we had a terrible time. I mean, a terrible time keeping staff. And I mean all staff, wait staff, nurses, housekeepers, dietary, maintenance. We had a terrible time keeping everybody in the summer because that part of Cape Cod was very tourist trendy or tourist heavy. And so come the summer months, all the wages went up like $5 or $6. So if you quit working at the nursing home in May, you could make $5, $6 more an hour all summer. And then, end of the summer, you know what you could do, right? Just go back to the nursing home and get your job for the winter. And so to tell you that we spent an enormous amount of time on this problem would be an understatement until finally, I said, not me singularly, but we said, we're just going to have to be the devil's advocate. We're going to have to play the game they're playing. And so come May, everybody's getting a $5 raise if they stay. Stay here. We'll give you the same money you're going to get out there. And that way we were able to hold on to a few of our employees, not all of them, but a few. We'll be right back. We just check in with India, let her ask her if I'm sounding okay. I think Bill, who is our program director, has said I am sounding good. Everything's loud and clear on his end. I did not put my phone in airplane mode, which is a rookie mistake, but no worries. Nobody called. So, hey, we're all good. We're all good. Says I ran long. I didn't mean to. I meant to be out in 12 minutes. Okay. Well, program director is asking if I'm okay. Yeah, I'm having a great time. Of course I'm okay. Of course I'm okay. Yes, I don't like employees who complain about managers all the time. That's the excuse. The number one excuse. Not a big fan. All right, we're going live here. Let's go back to what we're doing here. No more lollygagging. Should be 17:30. India is good. That's good. And we are back. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. I am, of course, your host, Ralph Peterson. You know that already. Go to ibgr.network if you would like to listen to past shows, become a member of our community of commerce. If you would like to learn about any other shows on the IBGR network, this is the place you need to be if you are in business, trying to grow a business, trying to start a business, trying not to lose your business in today's climate. IBGR is the radio show, is the radio station, pardon me, for you. And again, if you are interested, would like to learn more about me, about the Ralph Peterson Radio Show, about, oh my gosh, I would be remiss if I did not again mention that I have a brand new book out called The Good Manager. Being Great is Overrated. It even comes with the last page of the book even comes with a piece of trash, which is probably, I'm showing it to those of you who are watching me live. The last page is a piece of trash. For those of you who have ever attended a management training workshop of mine, you know that I train everybody using a piece of garbage, a piece of trash. And so I had to add it, of course, to the book. I think it's super smart, super fun. So go out and get yourself a copy of The Good Manager. Being Great is Overrated. It is the best gift for your workforce. It is the best gift for your managers. By the way, it is a book for managers. I only write for managers. I only speak to managers, only want to engage with. No, I'm only kidding. I do all my business dealings with people who are in charge, who are taking the big risks, who are trying to create and trying to engage and trying to serve others. So if that's you, then welcome. Welcome to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. We are super happy to have you. There's so many things going on in the news this week. It's so fun. There is a brewery. There's a huge stack of stuff over here. There is a brewery in Colorado. I don't live in Colorado, nor do I drink alcohol. But if I did, this brewery has got it going on. This year, you can get your beer delivered to you by reindeer. That's right. So if you order beer from this beer company, what's the name of this beer company? This beer company is called Breckenridge Brewery. Breckenridge Brewery. It's out of Denver and Cascade, Colorado. So if you're in that area, they will deliver beer to your residence, to wherever you want it to go, using reindeer to pull a sleigh. And then, of course, you'll be able to pet the reindeer and you'll be able to feed the reindeer, I imagine. Give them some cookies. I don't know what a reindeer eats exactly, but whatever it is. I think that's really funny. You know, one thing that we always have, I keep talking about, I keep harping on because I just love the conversation about operational management. And that is with AMC or with any movie theater. You know, with the movie theaters have been taking a huge hit this year. Nobody's making movies. Netflix is taking all the number one spots. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Apple TV, they're all stepping up. I think Google is now having its own TV station or movie play app or whatever. They're all become the forefront place to listen to new or watch brand new movies. And so the theater chains are having this real big problem where they're being closed. They've been closed for 10 months now. They haven't been able to have any patrons go in there. So they have all the rent due on these places. They have employees waiting in the wings. They have masses and masses and masses of popcorn that nobody's eating. And the big question is, A, when can we go back to the movies? And B, when are the movie companies going to start making new movies? Because even movie production companies have been put on hold due to the pandemic and the coronavirus. And so there's this new story out. Universal Pictures strikes a deal with the major theater chain Cineplex. And I won't bore you with the details. I'll just say this. They brought up another really good and interesting problem that they have to overcome, and that is, as Netflix and Hulu and all these other online streaming organizations get more popularity and they get more of a foothold in showing brand new movies, when the movie theater is able to open, their whole business model has been built on. It has been built on that you have to go see it in the theater first. Well, now you don't have to wait for the theater. You can just go and watch it on Netflix. You can just go and watch it on Amazon or on Hulu, on your television, on your internet. So you don't have to go to the movie theater. So now they're making this big deal where they're trying to figure out, okay, Amazon right now or Netflix right now or whatever, they are able to play a newly released movie right away, where that was never the case. They always had to wait until they were shown in the movie theater first. And usually it was 6 to 9 months, sometimes even a year. Like we've all heard, like there's a lot of movies that go straight to video, which is an old time video thing. That is now not the irregular, that's now the norm. And so with the idea of these big movie houses coming back online, they just signed a deal where they will only keep the movie. Now the movie production companies are only allowing the movie theater to have exclusive rights to new movies for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Can you believe that? Only 3 weeks. After that, they're going straight to video. And so you're going to lose all that big blockbuster rush to the movie theater, because in 3 weeks after a movie is out, you don't have to go to a movie theater. You can watch it at home. I think it's going to change. I don't know. It already changes everything. It's a crazy. The cake boss is piping off about how to do stuff. There's Black Friday deals. You know what? Speaking of Black Friday deals, I did not know this because I'm not the biggest payer or attentioner of shopping. But JCPenney is I'm just going to give you the top one. JCPenney is supposedly the place to get the most deals. And their average discount is 56.7%. Their average discount is 56% off. Guess that's why Black Fridays are a big deal, because that's a humongous savings. Who knew? No, we're not here to talk about the cake boss. Don't care about him. Don't care about that. Oh my God. This is what we do care about. I have the top 100 companies, the best companies to work for. I have the list from Forbes, and there's also a list put out by Glassdoor. If you don't know who Glassdoor is a company where it's almost like Yelp, where Yelp, you can leave reviews for for a company that you've been a patron of, a customer of. Glassdoor is the same thing, except it's for where you worked. And so it kind of like gives that transparency, show you behind the scenes. You're getting the employees' perception of what it's like to work at this place. And normally you go to glassdoor.com, you normally go there to read all terrible reviews, because 90%, I'm guessing, most of the reviews I've ever seen about any company written on Glassdoor is negative. And it's always from an employee who has been slighted, who thinks there's no good managers out there. All managers are the worst, terrible human beings in the world. And so Glassdoor also has their top 100 places to work, and they too are voted on by the employee. However, their list and the Forbes list or the Fortune list, 100% different. There's not a single company on Glassdoor rated as the top 100 that is also on the Fortune magazine's 100 greatest 100 companies to work for. I don't know how that is. I don't know if there are specific industries that they're going for. I just see that there's two lists, and I thought they were kind of interesting to pull. And the reason that I think it's so interesting to pull is because some of the questions that they ask the employees, when they're rating their company, what is most important to them? And I'm going to tell you, for the longest time, I would have thought that they had something, they would have said more. This probably shows about where my thought is. They would have focused more on vacation time and sick time and health insurance and, paid time off, all the PTO time. I think that when I hear, every time I'm in negotiating, trying to hire somebody, that's all they're ever focused on. I hire managers for a living. And when I'm hiring a manager for a living, they focus more on how many days they get off than they focus on anything else. They focus more on how much they get paid on an hourly basis or on a salary basis, how many days they get off, what their vacation schedule looks like. What they never focus on, or I rarely ever have this come up in an interview. And by the way, I'm going to give you a little tip. If you bring up what I'm about to bring up in an interview with me for a management position, you are leaping to the top of the candidates that I'm looking to hire. And that is, how do you grow both personally and professionally. Organizations that have programs, clear programs that help you, the individual, the employee, grow both personally and professionally. There is room for growth. There's a place you can see that you would be going to, or you'd be able to go into the company at this level, but there are many levels in the company, and there's a clear way of getting to each level and rising up through the ranks. That has been the single biggest decider on who gets the top ranks, the top 10 companies in both lists, by the way, both lists, whether it's by Fortune or by Glassdoor, both lists, the overwhelming majority benefit that is touted by the employee is the ability to grow with the organization. That is a humongous oversight on so many people who are applying for work. They're only interested in today, what's happening for me right now, what day am I getting paid? Nobody says, is there tuition reimbursement? Is there any program, any internships, any after work programs that we can be involved in so that we can continue to grow ourselves both personally and professionally? It is a huge, huge oversight. And it's one that I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Companies that do it well, companies that say, hey, we not only do we want you to work for us, but we want you to grow with us. We want you to grow personally, professionally. We want you to be doing this. We want you to be doing that. We have these programs and those programs. Those companies are on the top 10 of both lists. They matter because people want to grow. Nobody wants to stay stagnant. We will be right back. We'll continue this line of questioning. Hey, Jordan. All right. I had a little bit of noise issue I had to take care of. Last week, the stupid gardeners came, and nobody owns a rake anymore. I don't understand. Not a single person. I see gardeners all the time, and not one person owns a rake. Everybody's going to those stupid blower things. It drives me crazy. You know how hard it is to do a radio show when people are got blower things going all over the place? It's challenging. It's challenging. Okay. 32. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. I am still your host. I guess I wouldn't need to say that after the third segment. You know who the host is. You know what's going on. You know what you're listening to. No, if you're just joining us, hi, how you been? It's nice to have you here at the Ralph Peterson Radio Show, where we talk about everything business operations. This is a business operations radio show. This is a whole network full of entrepreneurs who are here ready to give value to fellow entrepreneurs. It is one of those for us, by us kind of organizations. And we are happy to be here. I got to tell you, there's this new, here's an article that just kind of burns my chops. And it burns my chops for the most, I'm going to tell you what it says. And it's not the reason why you think, I guarantee the reason it drives me insane is not the reason you would think. And here it is. Here is the headline of today's Viewpoint. Fraudulent unemployment claims are on the rise. This is as of yesterday, November 23rd, 2020. There has been an estimated 550 to 650 million dollars spent on fraudulent unemployment claims. And here is here's my favorite part. And by favorite, I mean it's just driving me crazy. My favorite part is before they were caught. Now, I love the way this writer writes this. Before they were caught, thousands of inmates in Pennsylvania applied for and qualified and received unemployment benefits through the Pennsylvania State Unemployment Insurance Organization. That's right. If you're in jail in Pennsylvania, apparently it spread like wildfire in the prison that all you had to do was, hey, there's a new coronavirus relief package out there, and you can just go ahead and apply for it, and you'll get unemployment. And thousands of inmates in Pennsylvania applied for and received unemployment insurance. Oh, how fun it is. It says that they seized more than 80, they didn't let the prisoners keep it. Federal authorities seized more than $80,000 in funds held by local bank accounts allegedly associated with COVID-19 unemployment fraud. But that is, I'm going to be honest with you, that is not what drives me the most insane. That's funny. That's hilarious. That's proof of how messed up and how easily manipulated any and all government systems are to manipulate. Every government system is easy to manipulate because they just don't have the controls, because it's nobody's money. It's hard to manipulate me. It's hard to steal my money or to do something in my business. I have only 2 employees. Trust me. If something happens, I know it's one of them. So it's hard to take it from me. But where the state or the federal government is so big and massive, and there's very little controls, that it's a lot easier. No, that's not what drives me crazy. That you kind of could have written that down and said, I can predict that somebody somewhere is going to be stealing from the federal government. Okay. That's not what drives me crazy. This is what drives me crazy. The CARES Act made lucrative federal funds available in the tunes of $600 a week to individuals unemployed due to the pandemic. Okay. We could talk all day of what it means to be unemployed due to the pandemic. I'll tell you this. I had a couple of grown men, and I don't know why I say grown men. I say grown men to say not young kids, all right? Not 18-year-old new people in the workforce, just not sure of themselves. I'm talking, and I don't know why I'm saying men, but other than they were, all right? That's why I'm saying grown men, because they were grown men, okay? 2 grown men who had been working in long-term care for years working in nursing homes, years. The coronavirus comes, and they act just like everybody else does. Shocked, surprised, concerned, and we all have a little bit of an attitude about it, because you know what? In long-term care, good Lord. I've been in long-term care for 20 years. We've seen everything. HIV, Hep C, Hep A, MRSA, VRE, Norwalk, H1N1. You name it, we've seen it, right? So it's not a new disease is out. Okay, all right. So we all looked at it a little cautiously and a little flippantly. All right, we work in long-term care. That's how you look at everything. A little cautiously, a little flippantly. Then the whole CARES Act came out, and oh my God, did these two gentlemen's attitude change. You're not going to believe this, ladies and gentlemen, but they thought it was not the safest thing for their families for them to be working in a nursing home any longer. And they quit for me on a Tuesday, and they started getting $600 a week on Wednesday. Because in addition to the $600 a week through the CARES Act, many states, including the good old state of New York where I'm hailed, also lifted some of or all, in New York State it was all, standard qualifications, meaning in order to apply and receive unemployment benefits, you had to be employed for a certain amount of time by an employer. You had to be actively looking for work. You had to prove that you were actively looking for work. You couldn't hide behind like, no, I'm going back to school to learn a new skill. You don't get unemployment for going back to school and learning a new skill. You only get unemployment. It's supplemental insurance for you from losing one job until you transition and find another job, and you have to prove it. But under the CARES Act, many states lifted all those standard qualifications, such as job search requirements and the 1 week waiting period. That's right. You used to have to wait. You couldn't even apply for a week. So you would get laid off on a Friday. You couldn't apply for not the following Monday, but the Monday. You weren't even eligible to apply for funds. And the reason, I'm going to tell you the reason why that is. The reason the law was written that way is to force people to stay at work. Because, all right, some people are not going to like to hear this, but here's the truth. If most of the employees could be home and do nothing and not have to work, which is the problem we're having, they would simply go and stay home and not have to work. There's a whole movement where people think that the best idea for Americans would start giving them, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like everybody gets a base salary. I'm telling you with peace and love, I would lose 80% of my staff. If you gave my staff, 80% of my staff, the ability to be home, even off a very limited amount of money, just not have to pay rent, not have to feed themselves, motivation be damned. I mean, out the window they go. And that's what drives me. That's what drives me the most crazy about the CARES Act. And it drives me the most crazy about these unemployment claims on the rise and the fraudulent and all that. I no longer compete. I used to compete with my fellow nursing homes. I used to compete. There's 6 nursing homes in my area. I have one of them, and I would compete with those other 5 nursing homes for employees. It forced us to figure out how to be better. I'll tell you, there was a time I worked with this owner. It was really a great owner, and he was having a tough time. He lived in a town with 3 nursing homes and 1 assisted living. And he had a call out policy. If you called out 6 times, you're done. That's it. Like you obviously have a problem getting to work. 6 times you're out. The problem is one of his employees would call out 6 times. He'd let them go. All that employee would do was go work at one of the other 2 nursing homes or the assisted living home. And so he's just losing all his staff over to the other nursing homes you could call out 12 times. 12 times. So he's like, well, I've got to compete. So I'll change mine to 12 times. And then eventually he moves down the line where he no longer has any. He doesn't have any. There is no call out requirement. You can call out 100 times and this guy will never fire you because he knows if he fires you for calling out, you're just going to go to work at the other nursing home. Instead, he knows it's better to try to work with you, try to help you, try to figure out exactly what it is, why you're calling out and trying to rectify it. He's trying to become a better employer. He's trying to create a better work environment. Is it transportation? Is it childcare? Is it because you have a family member? Maybe you're taking care of your mom or your dad. Maybe it's because of whatever. You have to get your kids on the bus. And so that's always happening. Or maybe whatever. There's all kinds of reasons on why people can't get to work. It's not always because they're lazy SOBs, right? It's not always because they don't want to work or they can't work. There are other reasons. And so when you're having to compete with those 3 other nursing homes for the same staff, and as they move their requirements of work, you too have to follow in suit. Well, then in comes the government. The government is now, I no longer compete with other nursing homes for staff. I now compete with the government. And the government wins hands down I can't compete. Listen, I say this. I'll give you $12 an hour for work that's not hard work. It's just busy work. It's really great. It's working in long-term care. We take care of the elderly. They're really fun and engaging, and they need our help. And it's a real rewarding job. And the government is over here. Listen, we can do better. We'll pay you $25 an hour. You just stay home. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get out of your pajamas. You don't have to deal with anybody. You don't have to produce anything. You don't have to be accountable to anything. You don't have to do anything for $25 an hour. My friends, is it no wonder we're having a challenging time with staff? Is it no wonder that we are having a difficult time? And now they're talking about the CARES Act is over, or it's about to end, or it has ended. And now there's going to be this new question of whether or not they're going to do it again. And I'm just sitting here holding my breath going, please, for the love of God, I can't compete with the government when the government has zero expectations of the people they're providing for. It's maddening. We'll get to Thanksgiving on the other side of this brilliant hour. All right. Best companies to work for we should get into. We're not going to get into that again. Still all good, India? Please give me a thumbs up that we're fine, please. One of us might have already had too much coffee to drink, so I'm trying to drink some water. A little hydration. Maybe we should talk about all of our books. Thank you, India. I like a thumbs up. I like fun. Oh, you can see my little Christmas gnome. I didn't realize you could see it in the video. Yay, it's Christmas. Although it doesn't look like Christmas. It's not snowy, which is okay this time of the year. It'll be snowy soon enough. 147. I feel like I'm going to break way early. I thought I had 12 minutes. What say you, India? Gnome on the shelf. That's right, gnome on the shelf. Oh, my friend Carrie, thank you so much for reaching out to me. It's so nice of you. Let me, Mr. Bill, program director, is chatting over here. 147. Okay. Why do you hear me in the breaks? Because I'm live on Facebook, Carrie. That's why. You don't hear me. If you were on the radio show, you wouldn't be hearing me. If you were listening to the radio show, you wouldn't be hearing me. Just during the breaks. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ralph Peterson Radio Show. The final segment is upon us, and I'm so super excited to be here and to be talking to you. I'm having a great time. I hope you're having a great time. This is the greatest time of the year for me. I love this time of the year. I think the holiday season is the best time of the entire year. The holiday season, I love Thanksgiving. Christmas is my favorite. I'm a huge fan of New Year's. I roll right over everything else in January. Get right to Valentine's Day. I'm a big fan of Valentine's Day. We'll just roll right on through from Valentine's Day. We'll get into my birthday, and then from my birthday, we're going to the 4th of July, and then it's the Marine Corps birthday. I skip everything else. Then it's the Marine Corps birthday, and then right back into Thanksgiving. Those are the holidays that are important to me, and so I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be here and to start Thanksgiving with you. And so before, I keep running out of time, and the clock is not my friend here because I have so much to say and so many things that I want to cover. So before I trail off at the end, let me say it at the beginning that I am so super thankful for everyone at IBGR. Everyone has given me the opportunity to be here on the radio show every week. I look forward to it. I absolutely love it. And to my friends and all my family and all my clients and customers, I am one of the rare. I know that I'm rare. I know it. I know that I'm going to say that I've had a really great year, and it might fly in the face of others. And you might think I'm trying to be crass about how I'm not aware of how terrible it is for other people. That is not true. I know how challenging it has been. I do work in long-term care, so I do see it on a daily basis. I have managers that are on site every day. I have employees who are interacting with people who are suffering from the coronavirus, not just physically with like ailments or complications of the coronavirus, but I mean, even more at the social level with the social distancing and no visitors in long-term care. And my brother was in a rehab center for a while this year and not being able to have visitors and all that. I know how challenging it has been for everyone. And I really do appreciate the difficulty it's been for everyone. I just saying for me, it has not been that way. I've had a really good year. I became a grandfather this year. I published my 4th book this year. Is my first year being married to my best friend in the whole world, and it's been super great with her. It's my first year living on Long Island. It's so many things it's been a challenge, sure, but just focusing on the positive. This has been an amazing year, and I just want to thank everyone out there, everyone who is part of my life, and thank you all for being part of it and helping me have such an amazing year. It really has been a fun, fantastic year. Speaking of a fun, fantastic year, if you are in the business of buying gifts for anyone, I would suggest you buy them a book. And of course, buy a book, I mean buy one of my books. You know what? You can buy all of my books for the manager in your life. If you listen to this, I got to tell you, if you have a teenager, my next thing, if somebody's got some ways to go about this, I think I would really enjoy teaching or having conversations with high school juniors and seniors about what it is like to be in charge. And I'm going to say it out there right away that I'm coming to you selfishly because I need people entering the workforce who have some ability to be in charge, have some ability to take some responsibility. So I would love to be involved in some type of program where you're helping teenagers, juniors, seniors, nothing younger than a junior, but just that 17, 18-year-old who's looking to get into some, or at least some understanding of leadership and management and operations and business operations and how you make money and how you lose money and how to manage it. And I would just love to be part of that. And so if you've got a child, if you've got a high school senior or junior, and you're like, I don't know what to get them one of my books. I'm telling you, my books are fun. They're easy. They're quick reads. They're story-based, and they are impactful. Ask anyone who's read one of my books. They'll tell you they are impactful. If nothing else, they are entertaining, and I am so happy to be sharing them with you. So if you have the chance to have someone who is in need of a gift, I say Buy the book. Even if you don't buy one of my books, first, how dare you? But even if you don't, then buy them any book. Books are the best thing. Or buy them an Amazon gift card. Listen, that Amazon is the place to get books. And so Kindle, Amazon, Audible. By the way, I'm still waiting for my book to be on an Audible. There is a huge delay with Audibles right now. Apparently, everyone and their mother wrote a book this year and put it on Audible. I am not so special. All you have to do is go to Amazon and type in new books, and you'll see that everybody took this year to write a book. So it's good. It's competitive. And here we go. So the last few minutes that we have together today, I do want to focus again on workforce operations. I do think it is such an important conversation to have, and I want you to have good takeaways from this radio show. It's not just fun and games. We are trying to run a business. We are trying to succeed. We are trying to compete, and we are trying to win. So here we go. How do you build an effective and supportive workforce? If we learn anything from Hilton Hotels is rated number one. Hilton Hotels is rated number one by by Fortune magazine. They are the ones who rated number one by Fortune magazine. HubSpot, which is like a sales and marketing company, they took the number one spot on Glassdoor, but they both have this same thing in common. They both have a program in place to get their employees from the starter employee right all the way through up into their top employees. They take personal and professional considerations for them. They have opportunities for them to grow. They are transparent about their opportunities and for everyone to grow. And that, I think, is one of the driving forces behind companies like Hilton and Ultimate Software. Wegmans Food Markets is on here. Wegmans Food Markets is number 3, the third best place to work for the second year in a row. Now, if you have ever been to a Wegmans supermarket, they're big in New York. They're big in New Jersey. I think there's some in Pennsylvania. They're growing by leaps and bounds, and they're growing for one reason. They're amazing. They are amazing. They are so well run. My wife actually got a scholarship there because she worked in the cheese department when she was a teenager, and they gave her a college scholarship. So even part-timers who are working nights while going to high school, they even invest in their future. They invest in their personal and professional education, even part-timers working for Wegmans at night. So it is indicative of all these great companies. You know who else? You don't see them on these lists very often. And I think it's a big shame. I think it's a big miss. And I don't know how they're being missed at all. But companies like Walmart, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Target, these are amazing companies that do a really, really, really good job at building effective and supportive workforces. McDonald's is the one that comes to mind the most because they have the unbelievable ability to take a 16-year-old kid and make her into a manager operating multiple McDonald's, like overseeing 10 or 15 McDonald's inside of 10 years. They have the ability to take this 16-year-old girl and make her into an effective manager that is responsible for millions and millions of dollars worth of operations in just 10 years. 12 years. That is amazing. Think about what were you doing at age 26? Were you running $1 million business? I'll tell you, there's not a lot of people I know who are running $1 million businesses at the age of 26. 10 short years. McDonald's has that ability. So they're not on these lists. I think that for a bunch of reasons. It's because they are so big that they probably, and when it's employee based and it's a judging contest, it's probably harder for a company like McDonald's to rank high as opposed to a company like HubSpot. HubSpot, just by looking at their makeup, looks like a professionally made up company, a company made up of professionals. And so, of course, you would imagine that when they go to a place like Glassdoor and leave a review, it's probably positive, and B, if it's negative, they probably own a little bit of it because they're professionals and they know it's a give and take. It's not all bad them and all good me. And sometimes sometimes I'm the schmuck, and sometimes they can only do the best they can. And so I think it's probably a little bit of that. The other thing that I want to talk about other than building an effective and supportive workforce, is how you're assessing your workforce capabilities and your capacity levels. I'm working on a program right now, and it's all about how to write job routines. And I'm telling you, if you've never done a job routine, if you've never written down from the time a person starts to a time a person ends and everything that's expected of them throughout the day, I think it's the best exercise that you can do if you're in a leadership position, if you're in an operations position, because you're going to figure out that there are so many things and ways to do so many other things. There's a lot of fat in there. Then there's not enough time in there. Then you'll identify there are some tools that would be helpful. There's some policy changes that would be meaningful. I mean, it is the best place to start from an operations standpoint. If you want to build an effective workforce, this is what I'm going to tell you and recommend you do. Grab a piece of paper and start following around a couple of your employees, asking them questions. What do they do? How do they do it? How long does it take? Should they do more? Should they do less? What do they need? And then be transparent. The more you are transparent, the more that you are engaged with your staff, the more your staff are going to be engaged with you. By the way, when I talk about the word engaged, I like to use the word listen. So being engaged means you listen, which means if you say the employees here report that they're not engaged, I would say that they're saying that they're not listened to. And so it's pretty easy to say, hey, how are things? And then shut up and let them answer. That kind of engagement pays big, big money. As always, thank you guys so much for this week. I will see you next week. Have a great Thanksgiving. Socially distanced, but eat turkey, whatever it is you got to do. I will talk to you all later. Well, that's it, my friends. Let me disconnect from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere we are. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Next week, Tuesday at 1 o'clock, tell your friends, tell your mother, tell my mother, let her know so she'll be on.